colleagues. So tonight we're going to be talking about languages in primary, and I'm Fiona Eves, I'm the head of MFL, and here sat next to me I've got Miss Shikawi. She's the French teacher, and this is Veronica. She's the Spanish teacher, and they're both going to be talking to you now about the curriculum in primary school. So I'll pass you over to them.
So, well, as I said, hi, I'm Miss Amit, Miss Veronica. So I'm teaching Spanish for years 2 to year 6. And first of all, I wanted to let you know why we chose to have 2 languages. First of all, it helps enhancing cognitive skills. So learning a language strengthens the brain, the memory, cognitive skills in general. Also, as a global perspective, as you may know, Spanish and French are 2 of the most spoken languages around the world. So we thought that it would be a nice idea to start introducing them in primary in order to be ready in secondary when they start with in year 7, having both languages. So they already have like a preview of both language basics. As well, exposing children to a second language in primary school increases their chances of mastering it. So they get to know it and like it, and then they are more interested on them. And then improve learning skills, as I said before, with cognitive and transferring knowledge from one language to another one. Also, students develop an increased confidence because they get confidence on trying new things, trying new languages, speaking in front of other people in a different way, which can be Spanish and French. Career opportunities, we all know, well, especially being in Dubai, that knowing languages is very important. So we open this possibility for them. And then we decided, well, the school decided to do half of the year because like this, they have a focus immersion on the language that they are doing at the time. Then it's less confused because they are just doing one language at the time. And it's also a nice, we try to do a nice transition from both languages, from Spanish to French. And we are also doing the same topics in both of them. Also to take the similarities in between the languages that we both have. So as you can see here, we left like a table with the topics that we are doing. So year 2 and year 3, they are doing the same on the same weeks. And then year 4 and 5, we changed it a little bit because we just introduced Spanish with year 4 while they already did it in French. And also happens the same with year 5. And then with year 6, we again have the same topics. So I don't know, Miss Milanda, if you want to.
So yeah, why the same topics? Again, as my colleague said, it's going to help them to have a coherence and see the similarities between the languages and feel they can master both languages like they did with French when it was an hour a week. So it's just to really show this coherence and arise the same curiosity. And to reinforce, as a reinforcement as well, one language can help the others. We take into consideration, as I said, the similarity between the languages. So that's why we are covering the same topics. Again, they won't be doing them at the same time because the year 4 now we're doing Spanish, they will do French later on from March. And the year 5 and 6 we're doing now French. They will be doing Spanish later on from the 4th half term.
And although we are doing the same topics, we are not doing exactly the same activities. So you don't have to think that we are just repeating the same time in different languages.
That would be a different.
We are different teachers, teaching methods. So we keep it.
They'll enjoy 2 different styles of teaching, engaging teaching, as we can see here. So there will be lots of games to really
get their attention,
to engage them. We understand it's not a subject that either they can practice outside of school or they can get help from home. So really try to maximize their engagement and their curiosity in lessons. And this comes through games to motivate them. And we believe that once they are motivated, they are confident to try and just challenge themselves. So this is an example, as you can see on the screen, of the type of games they're doing. Very kinesthetic as well, to get them to speak, to move, to put that into practice and into context. And well, that's for the content. Now for the assessment, for the parents who've been in the school, you're familiar with the learning ladders. So they will be assessed formatively, they won't have a summative assessment at the end of each term. Again, we see them only 3 half terms, so we won't do a summative assessment, but every half term you will have a formative assessment here with the objectives we're covering. They are separated in 4 skills: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And we've got the grades between 1 to 3. So 1, they're working below. They're not there yet in terms of the learning intentions and targets we have. On 2, they are on target. On 3, they are exceeding and going above and beyond. Usually that's for our native speakers, for example. So that's, once you're on the application, you will see the assessment updated termly after.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is what I've just said, showing you the learning ladder screen. Make use of it to keep track of how well your kid is doing, and voila. So
and also, yeah, sorry. Also, as you could see on the previous slide, the learning intentions or the skills that we have into consideration are not, they don't go like very deep on the language, because we know that we're teaching only once a week for 40 or 50 minutes, and they only have it for 3 half terms each language. So we go more like in general terms, if they can identify sounds, if they can recognize question forms. So as I said, it's more like giving like splashes of languages in order to make them be more curious about them and more engaged when they really start studying them in next years.
Yeah, and also they are general, so they can fit in any subject. So as usual, when you learn a language, you need to recognize, understand. So it followed the same pedagogical steps. So that's why we kept it general, to make sure every topic we will cover will fit into these objectives, and we can easily see if the student is understanding what they listen to, what they read, if they are able to write from memory. We're using a model. That's why we kept it general, to fit different topics and to fit both languages, Spanish and French. And we do have lots of native speakers. So I don't know if we have any parents online who are parents to native speakers. They have a different curriculum they are following for French and Spanish. So we are not using the same lesson as for the rest of the class, as obviously the language is not a foreign language to them. We are, for French, for example, I'm taking the curriculum they would have in France based on their year group. So that goes from CP to CM2. And there is a big focus on writing, as we interact all the time in French. So they are practicing the speaking and listening skill that way. But the focus during the lesson is on the writing. So grammar, spelling, orthograph, extended comprehension, covering different topics and different grammatical competencies. So yeah, that's for our native speakers.
Sorry. Yeah, for me in Spanish is more or less the same. So so far I just have a couple of Spanish speaker students. So I do the same. I have like my own Spanish book with the Spanish curriculum, and I try to follow each week what they would be doing if they were in Spain within the year group. And I also I try to introduce more reading comprehension to also help them like to match everything with vocabulary, orthograph, grammar, etc. So yeah, we are doing something a little bit separate, more specific for them, because of course, learning the numbers, they already know them in their language. So,
so yeah. So that's the end of it. So now we're going to take any question if you have. Please type them in the chat if you do have any questions.
Or if you want to unmute yourself and
yourself at the time. Yeah.
Whatever you want.
And don't forget as well, if anybody's joined a little bit later on, as it says on the screen, this Zoom call is being recorded and it will be sent back to you as a video clip, so you can refer back to all the information that we've covered.
Hi. Thank you very much for this introduction. If you don't mind, I have a question. My kid is in year 6. And the question is whether he will take this different languages, like half year for one language, another half year for another language, or it's going to be like one lesson for English, one lesson for French, and if you choose more to which language the
Oh, you mute
muted
yourself.
I was thinking so long.
It was just at the end. Don't
Just
worry. It was just at the end.
Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for this introduction. And my question is for year 6, if your class is gonna be like a half year for one language and half year for another language, or it's gonna be like a mixture of like.
Yeah, no. So they've already started year 6. They have year 5 and 6. They have started with French. So we're starting in September until February half term. After the half term, when they come back in March, they will start Spanish till the end of the year. So it's separate. They're doing French now for 3 half terms, and then they will do Spanish for the last 3 half terms.
And
So yeah, sorry.
For the next year, are they going to choose one language?
So for next year, I believe it will be in year 7. If it's in year 6, in secondary is different. They do French and Spanish at the same time. 2 hours of French, 2 hours of Spanish in their timetable.
For the whole year.
For the whole year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Right. And that goes like this until year 8. And at the end of year 8, they will have to choose one language, either French or Spanish. And then in year 9, they will have the choice to keep French or Spanish for their GCSE or to drop it completely.
So now also, sorry. Also answering to Jamal's question, this is going to be just for primary. So from years 2 to year 6, they have half of the year Spanish and half of the year French. So what we're doing is I'm teaching right now Spanish to all years 2, 3, and 5 classes of year 4. And then Miss Chikawi is teaching French to 2 classes of year 4, all 5 and all 6. And then in March, after half term of term 2, we switch our timetables, and I will have her classes and she will have mine, and I will do Spanish and she will do French with years 2, 3, and 4, like this. And also year 1, no, year 1 is not, they are not doing languages yet. They will start next year. Yes, I think we already answered also Petra's question. There is no homework, although we are, well, in my case for Spanish, I'm uploading all my lessons on CISO. So you are able to have a look at them with them if you want after school. Otherwise, we're also adding.
We are putting like the policy that has been in place in primary for languages has been to share the resources on Padlet. So you will find there the vocabulary we are covering, songs if they want to listen again, games, worksheets, activities online they can practice. But they won't have compulsory homework to submit like they could have for, I guess, the other subjects, just to not overload them as well. And that's why the big part of the learning is happening in class. What they can do at home is to consolidate, refresh their memory before coming to the next lesson through games. And
then next questions, we're just working our way through all the questions. I think there might have been a slight cross in the communication. It did start at 3:20, but we waited until 3:25. But don't worry, the whole thing is being recorded. So you'll be able to, and that'll get edited and sent back to you. So you'll be able to access all the information again.
If you want to reach us, you can always send us an email, and we are always available through email.
And then just back to Geoffrey, as we said, there are no formal exams, that we use the learning ladders and we assess the children through the lessons formatively. And we'll move down to the next question. Bear with us.
What if someone...
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, we'll take that question just now, and then I'm just up to where Fahad is on the chat.
Sorry.
So would you like to tell us your question? Who was the lady who was about to talk? If you have the question, you can unmute your microphone and ask us.
Yes. So I was wondering if you do assessments for children first before doing the French and the Spanish class, because my daughter's multilingual and I'm not sure about the French, how she would perform in a fully French class. Or like, you know, the French A and the French B, you know, you have for the native speakers and for the non-native speakers. So would you assess her first before deciding on this?
Yeah, that's what we do. Like usually the first lesson I can see from the interaction we have, and I give them something something easy to do, just to have a look at what they can do in terms of writing, grammar, spelling, etc. And then depending on the level, I take it higher. Like again, we've got the whole curriculum from the equivalent of year 2 to year 6 for the French curriculum.
And also because I think maybe it has been a little bit of a misunderstanding. We don't have, like in Arabic, there is like Arabic B, Arabic A, B, etc. It's just us teaching Spanish and French. So inside the lesson, within the same lesson time, if we have any native speakers, we give them a different task that it's settled up and everything explained, and then they do it at the same time that the rest of the students are learning Spanish in their own level. So it's not like separate lessons where we teach them separately. We have in the same lesson both natives and non-native speakers. So,
that's fine. Thank you.
No worries. And then the next question was to Fahad. What if I don't want my son to learn French? Unfortunately, as we are a British curriculum school, that is what's prescribed by the British curriculum. So he will be doing French and Spanish. But as we said, there are lots of benefits to it, and it'll prepare him for when he moves into secondary school, as he would have had that foundation. So the next question. In terms of the homework, this was for
so for the homework, do we have to take both CISO and Padlet for homework? So there is no homework, but the resources we will share for them to practice at home, to enjoy doing some games and learning, will be on Padlet. And
if they want to, I mean, that's what we tell our students. It's not mandatory, it's not obligatory for them to do the CISO activities at home. Although if once because some of them ask me, because they really enjoy the game, if they could access in their houses, and of course everything is available on CISO. So, but there is no homework. Yes.
And then how many times per week for languages? It's 1 hour a week. So like we said, if they're doing French first, they'll do French 1 hour a week until March, and then they'll switch to Spanish. And then in terms of measuring the results at the end, as I said, our platform that we use is Learning Ladders, and we measure the students formatively within each topic using the Learning Ladders. The next one for Yasmina, how will French work for the native speaker? Hopefully, you've been in the call. As we've said, we use the French curriculum, and it's the children follow that. Back to Nia. So my daughter's in year 5 now. For them, there was no Spanish in year 2 and 4 in WEC. So will it be beginner? Yes, it is. Veronica's starting with the name, age, and numbers. So
that's why. Sorry.
No, okay.
That's why we decided to separate the topics in some of the year groups, because they already did French, but they didn't do Spanish. So I'm starting from the beginning and able to link to more, not advanced, but like to other topics.
And then to Petra, you were here, you've been online just as we've been talking, so you've heard about the tailored French curriculum for French natives.
There's no Spanish.
Yeah, so Spanish is still beginner level if they've not done it before. And then half term, so basically the half term for all year for both Spanish and French is for all year groups. So in year 2, half Spanish, half French, and so on and so forth. So whatever language the students are doing now, they will do that until March, and they will change. And we'll just keep on scrolling down. So as we'd said before, it's just a Zoom user. We haven't got a name there about the benefit for learning Spanish. It's, so we've got lots of benefits, like cognitive benefits. It improves, memory. It also allows them to transfer their knowledge, from Spanish into French to make those learning skills. It's one of the Spanish and French are the 2 most popular languages spoken in the world. And also, as we said, it does prepare them for when they come into year 7 and they're taught by myself and my other team up in secondary. The next one from another Zoom user about CISO.
For CISO, we will ask IT and the class teachers to resend the codes and everything, all the users, everything will be sent again to make sure that you have access to it. But regarding CISO and Padlet, they are 2 different things, because on CISO we put like the weekly lessons, and Padlet is more just like for resources, exactly, and links to other Yeah.
So you see, so we use it as well during the lessons. So when we have classwork to do during the lesson, it will be posted on there. You can see their response. While Padlet is separate, we don't use it in class. It's really to share resources with them to do some extra work at home if they wish to.
And we'll just hang on for a moment or two and keep this recording just to see if any more questions appear. But like I said, don't worry, this will be edited to a video and will be sent to you, so you'll have all the information and all the questions that you've asked. You'll be able to hear the answers for them again. So we'll just hang on 1 or 2 more minutes and just see if there's any more questions. But thank you for your time and thank you for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed meeting both my French and Spanish teachers. And I'll be looking forward to meeting you over the course of parents' evenings throughout the year.
And again, if you have more questions in the future, you can always send an email, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Hi, sorry to interrupt. This is Malak's father. Hi, how are you? This is
Hi.
Malak? Yeah?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, yeah, okay. Look, I've been struggling to, come online for the last like 15-20 minutes. I don't know what we missed, but it said that the host must have a commercial account, so it was quite difficult, until I used my company account, to log in. So I'm not sure what we have missed. So there's anything that we should be
as we said, I'm not sure if you've just joined in now, but the whole of this presentation is recorded, so you'll get it sent to you in a video back, so you can watch the whole presentation and hear the questions and answers. But if there's anything that you'd like to know the answer to now, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand one thing. What is this presentation about? Like, is anything in particular?
Presentation, it's just to introduce ourselves, the French and Spanish teachers that we've got, just to talk to you about why we're doing Spanish and French this year, because Spanish was introduced last year and it's something that we've brought into the school. We just spoke about the benefits of learning 2 languages, spoke about how the curriculum is similar but different with the same languages, showed you how we were assessing. So we're using learning ladders, and students are being assessed formatively against the objectives on learning ladders. And then we ended with just talking about if any parents have any native students. We just said how we had the students following, the Spanish curriculum and the French curriculum.
All right, okay, that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
Spanish being added to the curriculum. So it's like
Yes.
an optional, or they do both?
It's compulsory. So what they do it for half of the year. So whatever language your son or daughter is doing now, they will do that until March, and then after March they will then swap to the other language.
Right, okay. All right, thank you so much. We'll go through the presentation. If there's anything, then definitely we'll talk to the school teacher. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
And then for Yasmina, whose email is it that you'd like? Would it be mine, the Spanish teachers, or the French teachers?
You can send it.
Yeah, I can respond back to you and type all the emails in there, so you'll be able to have that. And then there was one more question, I think, just before we end the meeting.
Sorry, I would like to. This is Yasmina. Do you hear me?
Hi, yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I would like to have, because my son is in year 5. If is it possible to have the email of the French teacher?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. We'll type it into you now, Yasmina. Okay, so you'll be able to.
And we are new in the school, so it's why we are trying to familiarize ourselves with the school.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No worries. And then there was just one final one from Jaffe. How will we come to know that what my kids know about this 2 languages? She was studying in year 6. I'm not sure if you're referring to assessment there. So you will obviously have seen what we're covering in terms of year 6 and in terms of the progress they've made and what they've been able to do. You will see that on the learning ladders. You will see how your student has been like graded in terms of below expectations or meeting the expectations of each strand within the learning ladders. But I think that is all the questions now. So we'd just like to thank you for taking the time to come and join us today. And like I said, we're always we'll type our email in the box below so you have it. And this will be sent as a video and emailed to you so you can refer back to it. Well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Adios.